get some news and raising some dough. It's the annual Matheatre fundraising show. Hello. Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Thanks for being here. This is Matheatre's second annual fundraiser. Give us a wave or a hello or a thumbs up in the comments if you joined us for last year's steampunk themed event. It was a very different time back when we could be in rooms together, use our lungs to turn air that came out of other people's lungs into music. We could enjoy radioactive snow cones and drink tea with competitive abandon. But although the world has changed drastically since last year, Matheatre's mission has not changed at all. We are still using live theater to tell stories that inspire excitement about math and science.
While live theater in its true form is an experience that can't completely be replicated, we are adapting our art form into a variety of live and asynchronous learning experiences to support distance learning across elementary, middle, and high school grade levels.
And on the upside, there is one actual great thing that has come out of this quarantine situation for us. Until now, we have never been able to logistically or financially support a production with more than just the two of us. We are normally on the road for months at a time, and we couldn't seriously consider hiring more actors because we just can't adequately compensate another person for the commitment of a tour. But with the ability for actors to work from home on a non-grueling schedule, we've recognized this situation as an opportunity to start expanding the range of stories we can represent. So even though most small businesses are laying off employees right now, we have actually created 2 contract-based positions for the duration of the school year. We are so excited to welcome 2 new actors to our team, and you'll learn more about them very soon.
First, we need to address the obvious. Our tour got canceled. We had to postpone our new show, Voyagers, and we lost a lot of income, and it was bad. Moving on. Our focus at the moment is on creating distance learning content that is financially accessible for teachers and parents. So even though we don't have travel expenses at the moment, our already small margins have shrunk to just about zero. But your support will go a long way in allowing us to hang on and continue producing content during this wild time. And we are a 501c3 nonprofit, so your donations are tax deductible.
And here's the exciting part. We have a matching donor. This sponsor has chosen to remain anonymous, so we cannot publicly thank them by name, but we are incredibly grateful for their support that will match every donation we take in tonight. I want to see likes and smiley faces in that chat. If you have always wanted to be super generous and really make it rain, our matching donor has brought the thunder.
More horn! We have a lot of new programming to announce tonight, so buckle in. But before we get down to business, it's time for our first giveaway.
What? A giveaway?
Those of you who tuned in early, get your texting thumbs or your chatting thumbs ready or your fingers warmed up. We really appreciate you taking time to spend with us on a special night of August 20th, because I'm sure you all have lots of other plans to celebrate this date in science history.
Kittens.
Sorry, we have kittens and they're about to knock over things in our house.
Timing, you guys.
Right? Okay. But we're sure you have other plans to celebrate this date because
today is the 43rd anniversary of the launch of NASA's Voyager mission. The first liftoff happened on August 20th, 1977. The Voyager mission is, of course, the subject of our musical that we created in collaboration with Fisk Planetarium. Our opening in March was postponed because of the pandemic, but not before we did a run on souvenir merchandise. Only a very few people have these collector buttons, so we are giving you a chance to get ahead of the crowds and win one of these stunning 80s inspired Voyager's badges with some Voyager mission trivia. Kittens, what's our first Voyager trivia question?
He says there are 2 Voyager spacecraft still traveling through space. Voyager 1 and Voyager 2. Thanks, Papageno. They launched 2 weeks apart in 1977, the first on August 20th, hey, and the second on September 5th. Our first Voyager's trivia question is, which of those 2 spacecraft launched first, Voyager 1 or Voyager 2? Put your answer in the chat, and the first correct answer will receive a handsome Voyager's badge in the mail.
We will announce the winner in just a few minutes, but first we'll tell you what you're supporting this year, and buckle up. The first program to tell you about is actually an update from last year. At our last fundraiser, we announced that we were developing a podcast, and you probably thought we forgot about it. Well, we didn't. We are now in production, and we anticipate releasing the first season around the holidays. History Science Theater is a serialized audio play dramatizing a different story from science history every season, with music, of course, because we love science and math so much that we're virtually incapable of talking about it without breaking into song. The subject of season 1 is the career of X-ray crystallographer Rosalind Franklin. This musical will play out over 8 episodes and is set in a thrilling era for science, 1951 to 58. The first half of the 20th century had been marked by the achievement of splitting the atom. In the post-World War II era, physics and chemistry began shifting focus away from death and toward the dynamic structures of life, forging the new fields of biophysics and biochemistry. Rosalind Franklin was one of the most important and often misrepresented scientists of this time period. Your support will help us pay stipends to the splendid cast of guest actors who are bringing this story to life and the many hours of editing.
The most exciting new program is one that we started by the seats of our pants when our tour got canceled last spring. Between the beginning of April and the end of the school year, we reached over 600 elementary age students through Zoom appearances as Marie Curie and Sir Isaac Newton. We saw that there's a real need right now for distance learning activities that provide younger kids with a structured activity that still has a personal connection. This sounds like a job for live theater. We present to you History Science Theater Live. Live, professionally interpreted characters from science and math history will visit elementary school classrooms over video conferencing with a personal story. We started with just 2 characters over video conferencing with with just 2 characters, and it went so well that we now have 8. That's how math works. 2 cubed.
Yeah, I just cubed it.
We'll do a quick alphabetical run through of all the characters and just some reasons why each one is exciting.
There are so many characters, and they are all super exciting. This is the perfect one to start with because I can tell you about one of our new actors. Les Kirkendall Barrett shares the story of George Washington Carver. Give us a thumbs up in the chat if you know about George Washington Carver. He is not the inventor of peanut butter as popularly attributed. There is so much more to his story. Dr. Carver was a chemist and botanist who used science to revolutionize access to food in the rural American South. Students will learn about the nitrogen cycle and responsible stewardship of the land, as well as history of post-Civil War America from the perspective of one of the most famous black scientists of his day, an amazing researcher who used science for the power of good. And fun fact about Les Kirkendall Barrett, I have been friends with Les almost as long as Matheatre has existed. Les is a professional storyteller who normally tours throughout North America, like we do. We first met while doing the very first version as little baby Matheaters, me and Mark Gutman, doing the very first version of Calculus the Musical at the Cincinnati Fringe Festival in 2007. We might have some people from the Cincinnati Fringe Festival community in the audience tonight. If so, give a little wave and say hi to Les in the chat. I am so happy that 13 years later, he is now part of our company.
Oh, Scott Pacoditis says hi to Les.
Yeah,
Yay.
hi Les. Hi, Scott. Our second character, available to visit classrooms through the History Science Theater Live program, is Marie Curie. If you've been following Matheatre for a while, you already know how much we love her. In this presentation, Madame Curie talks with students about how to do an investigation using the scientific method. And students will learn about atoms, elements, and radioactivity, as well as perspective about equity and access to education.
Next up is another new character, Galileo Galilei. Galileo will tell the incredible story about how he used scientific methods to disprove the prevailing theories of his time, and how his unpopular ideas landed him in big trouble. Ooh. Students will learn about the motion of falling objects, the phases of planets and moons, and how what we observe can teach us about the universe.
We have another new character that I think is a little undersung, Carolina Herschel. Give us a thumbs up in the chat if you've heard of Carolina Herschel. She lived from 1750 to 1848 and worked as a duo with her brother William to use emerging telescope technology to catalog the night sky. She was the first woman to discover a celestial object and the first woman to earn a salary as a scientist. The story of her relationship with her brother has some really nice lessons about cooperation with siblings and also recognizing how everyone benefits when everyone shares their privileges and opportunities. Students will also learn about light pollution, what it's like to discover a planet, and how Miss Herschel got interested in astronomy through music. You just have to hear her whole story. It's really amazing.
Okay, hold on, Sadie. We have breaking news.
What?
We have a winner in the Voyager trivia contest.
What? Who is it?
K. Brian Neal reported correctly that the first probe to launch in August 20th, 1977 was Voyager 2.
Whoa, twist! Twist! Surprise twist! Yay, congratulations, Brian. And all winners tonight, if you don't think I already have your contact information, send me an email at sadie@matheatre.com so I can hook you up with your fabulous, fabulous prizes.
Ooh, so back to History Science Theater Live. And our character is available to visit classrooms over Zoom. We have another new company member. Shermona Mitchell is on board to tell the incredible story of Henrietta Lacks. Give us a thumbs up in the chat if you know of Henrietta Lacks. Mrs. Lacks made immense contributions to medical research. The only problem is she was never compensated for these contributions, which occurred without her consent. Mrs. Lacks will discuss the fascinating ins and outs of human biology as it intersects with the ethics of scientific research, consent, bodily autonomy, and racial justice. While Mrs. Lacks was not a scientist, her contributions to science are enduring and complex, and her story shines a light on the unrecognized scientific contributions of Black Americans. Now, a little bit about Shermona. When I moved to the Pacific Northwest back in 2005, Shermona was in one of my first Seattle productions, Camino Real by Tennessee Williams, produced by Theater Simple. Hands up if there are any theater simpletons in the audience. Anybody? And another fun fact, Shimona is an incredibly powerful actor. And I'm really super excited to work with her again all these years later. And also, yesterday was Shimona Mitchell Appreciation Day. So everyone send her some hugs in that chat.
Yay! Another new character. By popular demand, we did a rudimentary survey in the spring to find out what science history characters people most wanted to meet, and this mathematician took the lead by a landslide. The enchantress of number herself, Ada Lovelace. This mathematician envisioned the future of computer coding and is believed to have written the first computer algorithm in 1842. In this session, Lady Lovelace really encourages students to look at math creatively and use numbers to imagine the possibilities of the future.
And Isaac Newton is back. Sir Newton joins your class from his own isolation during the Great Plague of 1666, when his university and most of London was shut down. He tells students how he used this time to conduct revolutionary experiments and invent a new kind of math.
What?
Through visual demonstrations and story, students will learn about force, gravity, and inertia, and the possibilities of what a curious mind can do even from home. And finally, another classic Matheatre character, Nikola Tesla. Tesla will tell the story of his life as a Serbian immigrant in late 19th century America and his most famous inventions. Students will learn about the force of electromagnetism and how it is used to power light bulbs and run motors. He will also demonstrate the difference between direct current and alternating current and explain how his alternating current changed the world.
As you know, school is kind of all over the place right now, and teachers really need meaningful activities that are easy to book and affordable. We have priced the History Science Theater live experience as low as we possibly can, because in some cases teachers have ended up paying for it out of their own pocket. If you want to see more students experience this program, you can sponsor an elementary school with a 30-minute performance for just $50.
So Charles Swanson, that answers your question. They are 30 minutes.
30 minutes, that's right. All other donations, and hi Charles Swanson, hi. All other donations from tonight are going toward our general operating expenses, but if you email me at sadie@matheatre.com, you can be an official History Science Theater live sponsor for any multiple of $50. If you have a specific school or class you want to sponsor, talk to me and I'll get you set up. sadie@matheatre.com. Otherwise, these funds will go into a bucket and be dispersed to elementary school teachers who need financial assistance to book this program. Also, watch our Facebook page because we'll also be running ticketed events for the general public geared for homeschooling families. Those events are super fun, and we will post the schedule regularly on our Facebook.
That's not all. We still have two more new programs to share.
Are you serious?
Yes.
What?
We've been really busy this summer. But now it's time to give away more Voyagers memorabilia with another trivia question to celebrate tonight's anniversary of NASA's Voyager mission.
What's our next question, Ricky?
All right, Voyager was an amazing mission because it gave us close-up views of so many objects in our solar system, really turning points of light into worlds. Our next trivia questions tie Voyager in with two of our new characters with that History Science Theater Live program.
What's the connection?
We really like using history to communicate STEM because stories are a powerful way to relate complex concepts. And we really love presenting stories from different eras and viewpoints of science history because it helps tie big picture ideas together. So, our next question. Galileo first discovered the moons of Jupiter in 1610. For centuries, it was thought that all moons were similar to Earth's moon, dead and inert, until 1979, when Voyager 1 discovered that one of Jupiter's Galilean moons is actually covered in active volcanoes.
You're kidding me.
Which moon is it? Type it away. If you know, put your answer in that chat. first correct answer will get a commemorative Voyager's button in the mail.
Which moon is covered in volcanoes? I can't wait to find out. Now, this next new program is a big experiment in a brand new medium for us. We wanted to offer something with a real-time storytelling component that doesn't require access to a computer. With the help of our awesome summer interns, Sarah and Edward. Hi, Sarah.
Hi, Sarah. Edward.
We have come up with an experience we think you're really going to enjoy. It's an interactive, text-based STEM story adventure called Matheatre's Science History Mysteries. With just a smartphone and your wits, your class or team will solve STEM challenges to save the day in an interactive narrative inspired by science history. This will carry out entirely over the text messaging service WhatsApp with a live operator, one of us, texting with participants to lead them through a narrative and deliver clues to solve puzzles and clear obstacles using math or science knowledge. Episode 1 has a chemistry theme and the stakes couldn't be higher. Your phone buzzes with a message from Schrodinger's cat. Stuck in this box! Help! As participants help Schrodinger's cat navigate and escape from a potentially very dangerous box, they will identify atoms, learn about radioactive decay, and experiment with some very interesting cat chemistry. The science in this experience is aimed at the high school level, so it's a great interactive class activity for older students, also a fun, socially distant party game or team-building experience for adults. Watch our Facebook and website for the launch and schedule, and huge thanks to our intern Sarah for putting in a ton of excellent work helping us design this new program.
We still have one more program to announce. But first, one last Voyager's history trivia question. We'll announce this winner and the previous winner at the end of the show. So Carolina Herschel and her brother William discovered a new planet via telescope in 1781, and Voyager 2 visited this planet in 1986. The question is, which planet did Carolina Herschel help discover? All we knew about this planet was what we could see through a telescope until the Voyager mission visited in 1986. First correct answer gets a Voyager's button in the mail.
And our final new program is our take on the most timeless of media formats, sketch comedy. The historically inaccurate but scientifically relevant comedy show is a web series that communicates real STEM concepts while riffing on the specifics of the time and place. With most of our programming, we strive for a high level of historical integrity. The exception, of course, being Calculus the Musical. If you're familiar with that show, you know that the math content is accurate and specific, but the narrative plays with a lot of anachronisms and very silly humor. That's the spirit we're going for with this one. These are short videos that teachers can use on their own schedule. They'll be available for free on YouTube, and your support will help us put in the time to make them and hire guest actors.
Whew, as you can see, even though our tour has been grounded, we have not slowed down.
Not at all.
In some ways, we've speeded up.
Yep.
Your support helps keep us in business, helps us keep generating entertaining educational content, and supports us in some meaningful investments in our mission. At a time when most small businesses are laying off employees, we are doing what we can to expand and diversify the voices in our company. We've already mentioned that Les and Shimona have joined the cast of History Science Theater Live, but we've also contracted the consulting services of Michael Angeli Washington, an amazing educator and artist who specializes in racial equity in STEM education. She is working with us to guide us into more inclusivity in our messaging and the stories we tell as white performers.
We're accepting this time of pausing our tour as an opportunity to examine our work through a lens of racial justice and representation, and work toward improvements in the areas where we've been falling short. For now, the majority of our stories are still going to be coming out of our mouths from the two of us because we don't ask anyone to work without compensating them appropriately. But we're laying the groundwork to expand our structure and include more creative voices, and your support will help further that goal. For season 2 of our podcast, we plan to commission a script by a writer of color. We also plan to hire diverse guest actors for the web series. And we are super open to ideas of how we can create more opportunities to include stories about scientists and mathematicians of color.
Well, your support is always appreciated, but especially this year. And remember, your support will be doubled right now because every donation we take in tonight will be matched dollar for dollar by our matching donor. We cannot thank this sponsor enough for sharing their generosity and allowing every donation to count twice. And speaking of twice, we have 2 more winners from Voyager's trivia contest.
Did anybody know the answers?
Yeah, Scott Pachyditis knew that Jupiter's volcanic moon is called Io. It's actually the most volcanic body in our solar system.
Thanks, Voyager.
And Lindsay Coates knew that the planet Voyager visited in 1986, making a world out of a point of light discovered by Carolina and William Herschel, is Uranus.
I thought it was pronounced
Uranus.
Thank you all for being here with us tonight. Brian, Scott, Lindsay, I will follow up with all of you to get you your prizes. And I would like to see some snaps and smiley faces in the chat for all the parents who are working so hard to hold things together in this year's wild back to school journey. And for the teachers who are taking on the entire world right now. And for the students who are making it all work, even though it's the worst thing ever. Remember, our sacrifices are saving lives. Please, everyone, keep wearing your masks, keep washing your hands, keep listening to scientists. We will all be back together someday. And in the meantime, thank you! Thanks for all your tax-deductible dough in the annual Matheatre.